Hey guys, check this out.
Hello and welcome to Check This Out, a podcast where we take an analytical view of the media that appeals to us as individuals and why. I am El, your host, and with me today is special guest and enemy of the show, Duragai.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself and give us a bit about yourself.
I'm Durgai. I live in Denmark. I am 31 years old. I have yet to be offered a vaccine in this trying time. um, else I play a lot of video games. And it's kind of why I'm here today to talk about them video games.
Yeah. So, obviously, you're bringing something to the table that you enjoy and are passionate about. Would you care to talk a little bit about it in your own words?
Yes, so I'm bringing you the big, expansive ARPG called Path of Exile. It is a game in the style of Diablo. It was very much inspired by Diablo 2 as a more complex and confusing alternative to Diablo 3.
Cool. So I have my prepared list of questions that are designed to delve a little bit deeper into that enjoyment of yours, if that's all right.
Definitely.
Alrighty. So, question one. Imagine I was someone who'd been recently awoken from a coma, resurrected from being frozen in ice, or even some inanimate object gifted knowledge of modern times and sentience. So essentially, I know what media is, but I've never experienced any. How would you explain Path of Exile without comparing it to something that I wouldn't know?
As long as you know what a video game is.
Yeah.
It is a game where you kill monsters and get stuff, and you try to make your character as powerful as it can be to save the world. And it's a game where the interesting part is how much time and thinking you put into it. It's a lot about planning and, of course, like making use of cool items you find in the game. So when you encounter something you haven't seen before, you learn what it is. You try to make your own thoughts about it, and then you build on the knowledge you already have.
Sort of roguelike in its in progression.
Almost. Well, it's a Diablo style progression where basically the game resets every 3 months or 4 months now. They've just recently changed that.
Fair enough. That was a little bit off the question, but I was curious.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's a big thing.
So, question two. Hypothetically, our positions are reversed, and I'm guesting on your immensely popular and award-winning podcast. I've just answered the previous question with your response verbatim. What stood out the most to you?
That the knowledge and effort I put in will increase my enjoyment of the game, or like help me move forward. That it is, yeah, it's built on my own knowledge rather than the game just giving you everything.
Yeah, rather than just being the same thing every time and you don't need to bother with anything.
Yeah.
So, question three. We can tell that this is something that you do in fact care about, but what got you to give it a chance in the first place?
So I tried to play it several times first when it was still in early release and in beta, and it was just like a group thing of like, hey, there's this thing. It kind of looks like Diablo. It could be fun. You can play up to 6 people together, and it was very early development. And I tried it and I was like, whatever. And then came back years later with another friend. I was like, so Path of Exile is like good now. Do we want to play together? It's like, yeah, sure, let's play together. And then I just fell into a hole of like, oh, this game got really good.
So more like having an opportunity to do something with a friend.
Yeah, having someone that I really enjoy discussing games with, playing this complex game where we're talking about bills, we're talking about like items we find, we share resources, and just like having someone to enjoy it with.
Fair enough. I mean, things like that are getting harder to do these days, I feel.
It definitely is.
Yeah. Uh, um, so, question 4. For some people, a sense of community and like mindedness are integral to their enjoyment of something. To your knowledge, is there a community around Path of Exile that you're aware of? And if so, what are they like?
Yes, there is a massive community around this game, and a lot of the outside resources we use in the game are all community built, which I think is really cool. Several people have made these tools, have been later hired by the company that makes the game, Grinding Gear Games.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's a massive community. There's a bunch of YouTubers who, of course, make content. There's a lot of streamers that are very varied in what they do. Like some of the most popular ones are someone like Mathil, who makes a lot of interesting builds and focuses on entertaining. He cosplays at the start of every season as one of the characters from the game, and and more and more streamers have been brought in. Then you have someone like Imperial Gaming, who is currently not playing because of a ban for this season, because he focuses very much on group play and how to really optimize and be like the first to do something new and interesting each season. So like he's done like challenges for like how can I get the most energy shield in the game, and then like broke all records.
Yeah. Uh, they don't have any like unilateral reputation around that you know of.
Um, Most of the streamers tend, at least the ones that have risen to the top, tends to be very helpful. To a degree, of course. There's sometimes where there's like you can look this up yourself rather than having me spend time telling you. Uh, but there's also the quote unquote dark side to the community, as there always is when you go on the subreddits and everyone tells you you're an idiot
Yeah.
because you haven't played for 5,000 hours and don't know everything yet.
Yeah, but as opposed to like a League of Legends where you don't even have to play, you are vaguely aware that the community is problematic at best, I would
Yeah.
say.
And the thing with Path of Exile is you can also just opt out of certain parts of the community and kind of just because a lot of it is the sites that provide resources or help you plan builds and stuff like that are all again community made, but you can just download them or you can just use them without someone explicitly telling you how they function.
Mm. And I imagine it's the kind of game where that's not necessary to enjoy it. Whereas something like a Minecraft, it's like if you get started in that, you, at least as far as I remember, you needed some like Wikipedia stuff in the background.
I think eventually in Path of Exile you tend to start to need some of those resources just to accelerate learning, right? Like because the usual saying is your first 2 or 3 characters will not make it to the end game, just because you don't know how the game works. There's a lot of like Path of Exile is a game that discriminates between the word increased and more. Those are very two different, distinct words in the game,
Mm.
and not everyone like. And then you'll need to some things that interact in weird ways, and it's the complexity of the game, right? So might as well use these 5 years of information everyone has gathered.
Yeah, the standing on the shoulders of giants.
Indeed, indeed.
Cool. So, question 5. There are many aspects of media that resonate differently with different people. What is your favorite part of Path of Exile?
This is for a lot of the community a very weird answer I'm gonna give, but the characters in the game, the NPCs you encounter, the big bosses, and the storylines around them. Uh,
Yeah, that's a fair answer. I mean, sometimes like you don't get a very well written game if it's too much action. I guess.
yeah, exactly. Like it's all the small things of when you encounter one of the NPCs in the wild, or when you every 10 minutes when you go back to base to like empty out your inventory, vend all the stuff you don't want. Just the little lines from the characters and the like how you're how you designed your own hideout and all that stuff. I find really like it's very aesthetically my jam.
I mean, just from the description, it's God. What's the? Now I've just started talking without remembering the name of the game.
Path of Exile.
No,
Oh,
it reminds me of Torchlight. That's what I'm thinking of.
somewhat, yeah. In that aspect, I'll say yeah. And
Yeah, I get the impression it's a kind of similar designed game from
yeah,
the
I mean,
same sort of
most
inspirations.
ARPGs like it. Yeah, this is just like if like Diablo 2 was dark, this is like you dug even deeper down into the darkness, like you dug too deeply and too greedily into the dark fantasy.
Well, I mean that does scratch some of my itches. Question 6. Following on from the previous question, what do you think would appeal most to the general public?
And that's the thing about Path of Exile. I think the thing that probably would appeal the most is you can kind of just go in and once you kind of set yourself up, this is the problem. Setting yourself up is the problem. But once you have that, you can kind of play in these short 10, 15-minute stints. Just go in, do a map, take a break, do whatever. Like it's not a game that requires long play sessions. You can do that. It's of course more efficient to do that. But if you just want to like log in, play for 10, 20 minutes, maybe find a cool item.
Like start it up, jam on it for a bit, and then just be done.
Yeah, it's a very short, like at least the farming part of the game is a very short cycle. And you're constantly making a little bit of progress towards like finding a new big boss fight or hopefully finding a like because everything can almost everything can drop everywhere. There's always that like, but what if the next monster I kill drops this big item that I can use or sell on the market?
It kind of like the Final Fantasy problem in reverse, I guess. It's like, but if I have all these potions, I might need them. But if I use them, I might need them.
Yeah,
It's like just around the corner could be the next big thing. Do I
the
risk it
next
or
big.
do I stop?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like, and I think of like there's always at least some reward for just playing a little bit. It's not like the it's not as bad as the big grind fests in some other video games these days. For you might get a skin. Woohoo!
Yeah, and it's not like a reward thing where it's like, oh, you've played for 3 hours today. That is the minimum we want you to do.
Yeah, it's like you can like I do that sometimes. Like I'll just take a week off because I feel like a burnout at the start of a season because I play a lot every new season. And then like I'll take a week off and then come back and play again, and everything is still there.
Fair enough. Question 7. Say that I do end up enjoying this because of your excellent recommendation. What would be your number one follow up? So it doesn't need to be a sequel or anything, but where would I look if I wanted something along the same lines?
Um, which one would I recommend? I think right now I would say Last Epoch. It's still in beta, but it is a game that sits very comfortably between Path of Exile and Diablo in its complexity, and has some pretty cool, interesting systems they're currently developing for that game. Else like Diablo 3.
I mean, yeah, just because something's like a big name doesn't mean that you shouldn't give it a go.
I think those are my two like big ARPGs at the moment, besides Path of Exile.
And I know the feeling that like Slay the Spire and things have just been really digging their claws into me.
Oh yeah, once you.
So, question 8. Sometimes our engagement with a piece of media comes from a position of relativity. Is there a character that you can relate to? Or is this not a character heavy kind of thing, even as you've acknowledged the NPCs?
Uh, I think like I won't say that's necessarily a specific character, but there is like there's very much a theme in the game between Sana, who's the like one of the main NPCs you interact with in the end game, and the previous storyline, which is then ended for her, like where she goes to find her father and the thing, and like that's very much like this long thing of like we don't actually know what we're doing. We're just trying to solve our own little problems in this vast, empty, multi-dimensional murder house.
Hmm. So it's like
And just
everyone has issues.
everyone has issues. Everyone is trying their own little thing to fix, and it's all very big and confusing, and we don't know the things we do how they impact the broader spectrum. I think that's like there's a lot of people like I'm just trying to do my own thing, and I don't know how the world does anything.
Which is basically just life. It's like I'm
Yeah,
trying to just get by myself, and there's a lot of things happening I don't know, and probably have no idea about knowing how to know it.
exactly.
Hmm. So, question 9. A lot of these types of interviews rely on the question of what would you bring with you to a desert island in order to get to know someone. But that's not this show. What we ask instead is to picture this scenario. You're on a deserted island with no hope of rescue, but food, water, and shelter have all been taken care of, so that you won't succumb before your natural time. You've also been provided with a single piece of media, and the means to engage with it, and for you, it is Path of Exile. How frequently do you utilize it, and how long would it take for you to be sick of it?
See, that's the thing, like, because I love this game. Do I get the regular updates? Is the question.
I would say no. So
Okay,
whatever
so
the current state of it, that's it.
okay, so I'm playing standard basically.
Hmm.
Because it's a game mode. That's basically that. Um, there's so many things I want to try in the game that I don't have time to do. So probably, like, I'll probably overdo it immediately because I do that every 4 months. Um, but there's just like so much to try in that game. Like eventually, you're gonna run out, of course. But
Hmm.
early and often, I think, is the best answer.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on how much you just push through it as to how long it would take for you to just be sick of it forever.
Yeah, because like I like weird small optimization things. So like, how fast can I get a character to end game? How quickly can I do this other thing? And like then do it again and again and again to optimize.
Is there like a radiant quest type system at the end game, or does it have a fixed end point?
So it has a fixed end game, but you can always keep playing. Like there's a final boss you can kill, but
Mm. It's
it
just
just
like
kind of wraps up the story. But you can still play that character.
yeah, like you save at the final save point, but never go through to the final boss type of thing, or is it you've killed it, there's no more story, just go have fun?
Well, you can go back and farm that final boss again and again too, because every boss has unique items they drop. So like, oh, I want to kill
Ah,
the current end boss is called Cirrus, uh, who's a former player character basically. That's how they advance the story is that the
oh,
current bad guy is a former player character that went crazy. Um,
as you do.
so again, a lot of this end game in this game is about farming items and either selling them or using them yourself or making new characters, and all that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
it's,
But
it's why
it's
they refresh every 4 months to like get everyone
yeah,
back on the same footing.
yeah. So it's not like something where it's just exponential growth forever. Eventually, there's going to be a cap.
Yeah, you hit a plateau of like these are like the best items I can kind of get on this character, and it can do everything now. So
Hmm. But that is all the questions that I had for you. So thank you for indulging me.
well, it was a fun time.
Hopefully, that's given people a little bit of a deeper insight into your perspective. But before I ruin the show by just talking myself for a bit, it's time for everyone's favourite part, a word from the sponsors. Thank you, sponsors. We love you so much. Now, I have a follow up review from last episode's enemy of the show and self proclaimed ghost haunting your non existent attic, Aaron, and their recommendation of the Black Cat anime. Is this something that you're familiar with?
It is not. I don't really watch much stuff.
Hmm. I mean, fair enough. Going into the episode, I had read some of the manga that it's based on because it's an adaptation. But then seeing the animated version was interesting, certainly. It's, I think, still more action than I typically prefer in a story. So, I mean, it's enjoyable. I did like it. I probably will watch the rest of it, but I don't think it's going to top out like my top list. Then Sven is the best character if you or anyone decide to partake of this anime. So I think I would give it a 2.5 out of 5, to be fair. Now, before we wrap up the final ever episode of Check This Out for this recording session, and the 6th time that I've made this joke, please would you be able to tell the audience where they might find you online and if you have anything to spruik?
So yeah, basically, if you find a Duro guy online, it is very likely to be me or one of my accounts that I forgot the password to. I'm currently working on a YouTube series I'm going to start up soon, which is basically just a campaign diary of my current D&D campaign, because we just started last week, and it's a thing I want to do. And
So
if I can be bothered, I'll be adding some like written material to it as well on a WordPress blog that I'll link on the YouTube videos.
So there you go, something to look out for you people out there. And on that note, I've been Al.
I've been Duro Guy.
And this has been Check This Out, a podcast of media positivity. And remember, a bear in a glass house is worth two in the woods.
That's not a bad.